Hey everybody, welcome to the Mediocre Cover Band Guitar Guy Saturday morning edition. Had a lot of yard work ahead of me today. We got 9 huge maple trees on the property. And of course, there are leaves everywhere, right? And it's like Billy Talent was in our yard and left fallen leaves everywhere. That was really bad. That's really bad. Really bad. Anyway, I want to thank everybody for the support on the last few videos that I put out. I've actually had a few reach over 1,000 views now. One actually has over 4. Not my biggest showing, but it's better than most, and I really, really appreciate it. It's a great feeling, I gotta say. I know why some guys do this now for a living. Maybe it's that whole ego thing. I don't know. So I had a question put to me, and it concerns guitar stores and going to the guitar store. And did I find that people that worked in the guitar stores, when I dealt with them in music stores, were condescending and cocky and just dismissive and knew it all and were this and were that. 99% of the time, no. Here in St. John's, I go to 2 music stores, Reed's Music on Topsail Road. Curtis and Jason and the guys in Junior, they're fabulous, fabulous. And then we got Long and McQuaid, which is, anybody in Canada knows, it's like our version of Guitar Center. And I've never had a problem with anybody up there. I don't know if it's because they see me coming in and it's like, I'm not going to say anything or be condescending to him because he's like a foot taller and, got 100 pounds on me. Don't know if that's the cause or not. And then they make fun of me when I leave, because this is the other 1% that I've seen. I've seen that happen after a guy has left, and but I've only seen it by one person, and I won't mention any names or anything. I know the guy. When a fella bought a pack of GHS Boomer strings, and he bought like 10 through whatever 46, and when he left, the guy made fun of him and said, "Wow, that's like so 80s. Like that guy's still." Probably got a can of hairspray from like 1987 under his thing. This person's no longer employed at this music store, by the way. And anyhow, no one laughed. I'm going to be honest. Like, they were just like, oh, okay. And then one guy looked up and said, man, one thing about GHS Boomers, I find that they're pretty stable. They don't go out of tune, and they're great for playing fast. So the other guy chimes up and goes, really, I've never used them. Might have to give them a whirl. And that was the end. The other guy just walked away like, well, fuck you, like I was whatever. That's about the only thing I've seen personally in that regard. As for being treated bad by somebody, it's only ever happened to me once, and it wasn't really being treated bad. It was being treated condescendingly, like as a 3-year-old, and that was at Best Buy down on Stavanger Drive by the manager of the guitar department. And he was, I don't want to say he was a cunt, because cunt's not a nice word to use out loud, and you should never put it on your YouTube channel, so I won't say cunt. I guess he was just like a little shit. And Tammy was looking for a hollow body guitar. She ended up getting a really beautiful Casino that I've used on a couple of videos, actually. The one on never taken a wedding deposit and not shown up to the wedding. That was the last one I did on it. It's got a Bigsby. Stays in tune really well. The whole bridge was replaced. It was a great guitar. It looked great and whatever. But we were down, and she had tried a couple of Epiphone dots and a couple of Casinos down there, and she passed them over to me just to get an opinion. Like, what do you think of this neck? What do you think? She found that like a couple, and fuck, bringing the whole, sex sort of thing in there, like, has smaller hands. Okay, she's not a huge person, and she found like some necks, whatever. But the manager walks into this little thing, and he's got this big, tall guy who's got these big glasses on. He was a combination of Wheels from Degrassi Junior High, and Beavis from Beavis and Butthead. Should not have really been a condescending human being at all. When I feel I'm more attractive than another person, that's bad, okay? And he comes in, I'm sitting on a stool, and I've got a keychain with a carabiner on it, or you know what I mean? And my keys are on the back. I was driving trucks at the time, and I had keys from the shop, keys for the rig, keys for this, keys for that, and everything else. Your tarp box, your headache rack, all that stuff. hooked in to the back of my jeans. Like they weren't even near the guitar. And he walks in, he goes, "You're not scratching up my guitars, are you?" With a big, stupid, shit-eating grin on his face. And the guy walks in behind him and he laughs. And I wanted to say, "These are your guitars? Like, does your mom mind you bringing them home and putting them in her rec room? Like, when you finish work every day, you own them all." Um, because he was that guy that his nan still makes his fish sticks for him every day because he's useless. And you could tell. And I know I'm bitter, but I looked at the guy and said, "Well, I'm not wearing anything that could scratch up your guitars. I had no rings on. I took my watch off, and I took my coat off. So there wasn't even a zipper on that." He just decided that because I was playing guitar and we weren't playing through an amp and playing loud like a couple of his buddies over the other way were, all doing the solo to Crazy Train. Every one of them, believe it or not. But that was the only time we walked out of and I've never been back since because of that treatment. So if anybody from Best Buy is watching this video, you can all go fuck yourselves because that was bad customer service. So I've never been back in the building since then. I order anything online, and that's it. But I think for the most part here in St. John's is that besides knowing most of the guys that work in the guitar stores here, like our bassist works on Long McQuaid, and I know the guys at Reed's, and they're sweethearts. Anytime I go in there, they bend over backwards to help you out. I went into Reed's. Curtis could have sold me a much more expensive pickup for my Telecaster, but he's like, I got the secret weapon here. And he brings me over and he shows me this very inexpensive pickup. I walked out spending a lot less than I thought I was going to, and he could have, steered me down the wrong path. But for my needs, this pickup works perfectly. And, after I explained to him, like, what I wanted. And, that's what I find. The same thing with Long and McQuaid. I go in and I ask a question. And right off the bat, they're just like a crackerjack and like, okay, well, maybe you need to try. It's not you need this, you need that. Maybe you should try. A lot of people are finding this. This one's, a lot of guys are coming in and we're getting good positive feedback about this. It's never pushy. It's never condescending. Like I said, I don't know what it's like when I go out the door. Okay, because you never know that. And they might all get together and go, "Look at that tool. That's that guy with the stupid YouTube channel thinks he's somebody." I don't know. But in dealing with customer service here, no. I've actually been to Guitar Center in Houston, and they were sweet as pie. We went to Sam Ash in Clearwater, Florida, and like I'd never seen it, but like this place was actually, I think, a hockey rink or something at some point because it was big, right? And the staff were like, "Yeah, you see anything, pull it down, play it." We ran into a drummer in the drum room, and we ended up having a 20-minute conversation with him about playing in bands, and found out that like their music scene where he was too was very similar. We went to St. Pete's Guitars. The guy was pulling White Falcons off the shelf and handing them to me, my bucket list guitar, right? "Oh, you got to play this one. Oh man, I got a Billy Duffy here. You got to play that." And like plugged in and full on playing that guitar, those guitars. And both guys were so, and they're like, we rent guitars to people who come from Newfoundland. We get them down here all the time. We can rent you one for a week for real cheap. If you don't want to be away from a guitar for your whole vacation, when you're just relaxing back at the condo, all that stuff. And really, really, really sweet. Guitar Center in New York. A guy pulled down a Strat that was once owned by Ronnie Wood that was being sold for, most guys' yearly wages. And there was nothing to it. Just plugged it in, and he's like, "Yeah," and he just went back to looked like he was reading, he was studying, looked like some sort of textbook from a college perspective, So I've never run into it, and I've been really lucky. And I don't think, I think if you go in to the guitar shop thinking you know more than everybody else, and you're a little bit of a cocky, condescending people, and you treat them the way you treat other retail staff, you might get it a little bit back. I think because your behavior is not appreciated. So maybe ask yourself that question. How am I when I go in there? Am I treating those people with respect because I need a question answered or I need help? And we all need help when you're buying something because you're going to want to plug something. You're going to do that. You're going to ask questions and things like that. You're just not going to pick a guitar up and walk out the door because that'd be stealing, But for the most part, I've not had. That was the only experience. It did leave a bitter taste in my mouth. I'm going to be honest, as you can tell by my comments in the video. And I've been treated like you know, I've been treated half douchey in other situations. Like I find people in clothing stores are condescending. You know what I mean? You go in and it's like, oh, we got nothing in here to fit you. It's usually a lady. I don't know why I put a big gruff beer drinking guy at a bar in there. But I did have a lady say that to me one day when I walked in. She goes, "Oh, well, if we got nothing here to fit you." That was a bad day too. Yeah, I wanted to go home and just stop eating. And I'm not overly fat. Like, I just have the two chins.